Guys, it's your favorite amateur racer, probably Unroyal, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. So you guys may have heard about some people complaining on Wheel about downloading twos and how people on controller don't seem to take wheel users into consideration. And today I decided to put some of that to the test. Now, none of these tunes are mine. Instead, they are a buddy of mine's by the name of Colonel Mustard. And also, he doesn't know I'm doing this, so probably should have shot him a message before doing this. But, Colonel, if you're watching this and you want me to take this video down, feel free to just shoot me a message on Discord or something. I'll gladly take it down by your request. But anyways, going through Foggy Yoseco, ended up in the back of a Lexus. Now, we are in the 1970 Corvette ZR1 as of right now, and I've downloaded a bunch of his grip tunes. And again, a little experiment just to see how well they handle on a wheel. And I figured since I'm doing a lot of grip racing anyways, with GT racing, touring class, and stuff like that, along with a majority of my cars being grip-based, I figured it'd be a perfect way to test since I'm in something that I'm already kind of familiar with. So, anyways, going around the turn after Casanova, ended up getting around Wheel Annie Zing? I honestly don't even know how you pronounce that name, but anyways, he's got a little bit of power. He gets back around me for right now, but going into San Donato, he cooks the tires, takes it way too wide. I end up getting right back around him pretty quickly. He says good race, and we pretty much just don't see him anymore, but anyways, now we got Aged Valerie JF in front of us in a Volkswagen. And we're actually about to lock in a really good battle with her. At least I assume it's a her. She goes off course, dips a couple tires. I end up getting right behind her. And also, Valerie, if you're watching this and you want to let me know whether you are a dude or a chick or not, because if I am misgendering you, I do apologize. But either way, going around the turn after Casanova once again. Right on her backside, but she is starting to pull away, so we'll go ahead and speed this up a little bit. And right here, she dips a couple tires into the sand, and I end up doing the same, but not as bad. Luckily, neither of us get a penalty. Going into a Materassi right now, slowly but surely creeping up back on behind her, trying not to lose too much time. Going into a Casanova now, I do hit the brakes just a little bit. Note, I haven't had too much practice in this car outside of what the game gave me before the race started, so keep that in mind if I seem to be a little bit slower. You could, if he has a video on each of these cars that I'm about to show you, I'd recommend go watching them and seeing what his lap time is compared to what my best lap time is. Granted, I'm probably never going to get up to his time because, to be honest, he has a lot more experience in the game than I do, along with tuning. But I'm sure if I had a little bit of practice, I could at least come close. But either way, I finally managed to get around Valerie there, going through San Donato. But she is putting quite a bit of pressure on. Ends up going into my backside there. Not intentional, though. She does apologize, and luckily the game recognizes it as a standard racing incident, so no penalties given. She was a really good racer in this race after all, so really glad that no one got a penalty. But right now she's on the inside going into Casanova. She has to back out quite a bit in order to avoid a collision with me. I would have taken it wide, but with her backing off, I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and make use of it and get through it. And it looks like at this point, she might have a top-end speed or straight-line speed, or however you want to call it, because she is slowly catching up to me. I hit the brakes about at the 125 mark, and I probably held on to them just a little too long because she does end up going to the back of my car. Probably another racing incident. We're going to go and speed this up to when I finally catch up to this Honda Civic. But, I think that incident with me and Valerie was a true racing incident. She probably just underestimated when I'd get back on the gas because I'm in a car that I'm not quite used to. Anyways, at his canes there, Ended up into the back of him for a split second there. Not enough to really mess with his race too much. Now, I do think he is in a power build because you can see he's struggling on these corners, but once we get on this main straight, you're going to see him slowly pull away, and I'm within his draft, so I should be able to keep up with him pretty well, but so far, it's not looking the best. But knowing he's in a power build, I should be able to make use of these next few twisty-turny bits. So, going around San Donato, Aged Valerie is starting to catch up. Or should I just call her Valerie? Probably just going to call her Valerie for the rest of the video, or race. And it was right behind the Honda Civic right now with a bit of a livery on it, not going to lie. Not really something I would choose, but to each their own. Going through a Materassi in Borgo San Lorenzo. I ended up right beside him. Had to back out of it, though, because I would have pushed him off track, and I want to keep my S-Class, or S-rank safety rating, so... And it was going into the turn after Casanova, which has no name. Ended up getting around him for a bit of a second, but he is going to use the power to his advantage. Get back around rather effortlessly. Speaking is not my strong suit as of right now. But luckily we know we can get around him at some point. And going into San Donato, I pretty much make up a lot of the time I've lost to him on the straight. And this Corvette is proven to be a grip machine. Now, the back end is still a little squirrely. For my taste, it could just be the fact that I'm on a bit of a different input style than on a controller. Again, reminder, these are Colonel Mustard's tunes. He is on controller, and I'm on wheel, and I want to make sure that, well, I don't want to make sure of anything. I just wanted to put it to the test to see how well his tunes work on a wheel. And so far, this Corvette is a complete hit as far as a wheel-using user is concerned. Now, at this point, I'm going to finish up the race because I was able to stay around the Honda. And like I said, I would rate this Corvette as a maybe an 8 out of 10. The braking was a bit squirrely at times. So at least on wheel, it's definitely usable, but you are going to have to be careful on the brakes. So that being said, let's move on to the next race. Okay, taking it to Barcelona. We're in Colonel Mustard's 2002 RX-7 now. Little spoiler for you guys, this is probably my favorite car of the video. Simply due to the fact it does not lose traction at all, guys. I can't tell you enough about this car. But anyways, going around Worth right now, getting close to being sandwiched, and there we go, a little bit of rubbing, and just to add insult to injury, we got a little flattened there. It's almost like a good PB&J where you might want to flatten it down a little bit as we go into the side of a Supra, which looks like it has a wide body, probably another grip build, and that wing on there is just ridiculous. Going into the Caixa right now, right behind an S2000 who bumps into the Supra. Not quite sure if Mitsubishi and Honda had beef back in the day, but seems like those two have just enough beef to make it seem that way. And it was going around Europe car. Looks like a Focus got pushed a little wide by the Honda S2000. New Holland slowly but surely closing the gap on them. But the only thing this car is lacking is power. But that is to go with just about any car built for grip. It's probably not going to have too much power, but you're probably going to be able to take corners real quick. Kind of like right here where Sir Cruel ended up taking a little too deep, and I tried taking advantage because I also did the same thing, but couldn't really get it done. Not enough real estate. Not to mention, I didn't quite get on the gas quite soon enough. again, I have like no practice in these cars. I just kind of downloaded them and decided, you know what, this might be a good video to not only potentially help my buddy out in trying to get his tunes downloaded a little bit more often, but it also remind me what a good race car feels like, because from reading a little bit of bio on Colonel Mustard's Twitch page or YouTube page or whatever, he got into the game, if I recall correctly, got into the game because he does enjoy tuning, and that seems to be his main thing. And I'm not sure if you guys have watched the videos. I'm going to link his channel in the description below, just so you guys can watch a few of them. But the guy's good at the game. He's obviously been playing it for a while, and his tunes are, so far in these past few cars, they're extremely well put together. And again, as someone that has next to no experience in these things and doing as well as I am, it's really saying something about how well Colonel Mustard can build a car. So it's no wonder his buddy bordering dumb was able to beat me in almost every race that we were in. But anyways, after speeding up majority of that lap, I was able to catch up to a few people: Joe Nelsh, Web Concept, and Rose 6. Now, I am almost in the grass. I had to back off and get back onto the left side of the track, braking just for that 100 board. I'm pretty sure if I got these brakes figured out, I'd be able to handle this corner quite easily, but a little bit of a contact by Joe Ness there. Going into Campsa right about now. Rose 6 right behind me. I was behind Joe Ness. And like I said, this thing just does not lose traction whatsoever. I'm pretty sure if I was able to set up these corners a little bit better, I would either not have to let off the gas at all, or just give it just a little bit of gas to power through it, and I'd probably be able to get a way better lap time than what I have as of right now. And it was going in the Europe car. It looked like a cone got kicked out of the way. I could be mistaken on that one. Getting right behind Rose 6 and Joe Ness into the sand, making some sand castles. Looks like an intentional way of trying to get him to make a penalty, but right now I am side by side with Rose 6 right here. A battle for 9th place going into Worth right now. We're both a little late on the brakes. He almost ends up into the back of the BMW driven by Web Concept. Side by side once again. I ended up backing off a little bit, letting him on through just so there was no collision between the two of us. Going into Campsa, I'm pretty sure I have this a little bit better setup than last time. As you can see, I was on the gas real early. And going into La Caixa, looks like a little bit of contact between Web Concept and Rose 6 there. Putting Web Concept right in front of me, not really allowing me to be on throttle as I normally would like to be. And in this car, it seems like I'd be able to get on the gas quite a bit sooner and give it a little bit more throttle. Because, again, this thing, I don't think I've really lost traction in it outside of locking up the brakes or getting spun out. But anyways, I ended up tapping the back of the Web Concept. But don't worry, he does have quite a bit of power under the hood, so he's able to pull ahead quite a bit. But that won't last too long due to the fact that going into Worth, he doesn't take this corner all that fast. Excuse me. Did eat a burger before this, so anyways, going through Worth, he does take it a little wide, bumps the sausage, and I was able to get right back around him. And we're going to go ahead and speed up the rest of the race because, honestly, guys, not too much happens, and it gives me a chance to talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about the car. And one of the main things I didn't like about it was, again, the brakes. Now, I know Colonel Mustard likes to use ABS as personal preference. And for those wondering, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, actual GT racing uses ABS. It's just that in the game, it's not really how GT spec racing is. But either way, we're going to finish the car race in 8th. I rate this car a 9 out of 10. Again, mainly because of the braking. I just could not seem to get it figured out. I'm sure after I get some practice in, I'd be able to really run it really well on wheel. But that being said, let's go ahead and get to the final race of the video and give you my final thoughts on Colonel Mustard's tunes on the wheel. Okay, guys, final race of the video. We're in a Mustang Boss 302 now. I'm going to go over my final thoughts. I'm pretty much just going to let the race play out. And since I'm in a couple of, well, 2 of the cars I was very familiar with. The Corvette, not so much. But it's not going to really change too much of what I'm about to say about Colonel Mustard's tunes on a wheel. Which, again, he is on a controller. And from what I've heard being the common consensus is if a tune was made on controller, it might not work on a wheel. And if it was made on a wheel, it's probably not going to work on a controller. To be honest, guys, Colonel Mustard's tunes seem to go hand in hand. You could be on almost any input device, and it will probably work. Like, I'm pretty sure if I were on a flight simulator stick, I'd probably still be just as competitive as I am right now. And by competitive, I mean being able to keep up with the majority of the pack. And to be completely honest, I was afraid that since he uses ABS, his brakes might be a little bit too powerful. And I gotta say, I am glad I was wrong in that aspect, because as soon as I found the braking sweet spot, trail braking was a hell of a lot easier in this thing, or these cars. And I'm not saying that because Colonel Mustard is a buddy of mine. I genuinely mean that, and I am 125% confident that if you were on a wheel, and, well, if you were at least new to a wheel and you downloaded this tune, getting to know how a car behaves and being able to jump in, race, and still have a good time, I say these tunes are the go-to in order to have that happen, because I can almost guarantee it'll pretty much just make the game just as fun as, well, basically GT racing if you downloaded a tune from like Grim Legion Gaming or something like that. Which, for those that haven't seen the GT3 video, Kalos is within that Discord, and that's who I got my GT3 Mustang tune from, so if you ask me if I could recommend Colonel Mustard's tunes, I say yes. And, of course, these were only the 3 out of several tunes that he's made, and honestly, Colonel, if you're watching this, and pretty much going to post it I'm going to post this in your Discord as well, is what I was trying to say earlier, but my tongue decided it wanted to get twisted. But anyways, Colonel, if there are other tunes you want me to try out on a wheel, just so it pretty much opens up the horizon as far as words. Colonel Mustard, if there is any other tunes you want me to test out on the wheel just so you could advertise to more wheelbase users, let me know, dude. I'll gladly try them out, because these 3 cars, granted the Corvette was a little squirrely, which, to be honest, it was a car that I almost never used, so I probably would have been able to get it down if I got a little bit more practice in it. But other than that, these cars are very solid, very grippy, and like the RX-7, this Mustang is just not breaking traction whatsoever. So, that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop the voiceover. Again, Colonel, if there's any tunes you want me to try out and pretty much try to sell it to other wheel users, let me know. I'm pretty sure by the thumbnail that I'm going to post in your Discord, you're probably going to watch this. So, with that being said, guys, pretend I said something corny here to get you to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you're struggling in Forza, download one of the Colonel Mustard's tunes. So far, these grip builds are top notch. And with that being said, I hope to see you guys next time. See y'all later.